Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a beautiful Saturday morning. If you've been here before, I want to say hello to you. I want to say, man, it's good to see you again. If you're new to the channel or you're new to this video, this is live on Saturday mornings. We do this every week, have amazing Q&A in here. I try to always bring in guests. And as you see, I have a very special guest today. We'll get to him in just a minute. But remember, this video is sponsored by Go High Level. If you're not using High Level to do things for your company, for your business, to help you communicate with your people better, to set up automatic text back, to set up your FAQs on your website and do amazing things, man, it's something you should be doing. So first of all, Billy, brother, welcome to the show.
I appreciate you having me on.
How you doing?
Man, I'm doing better than I deserve. I stole that from Dave Ramsey.
You know, I need to get a bench in here to stand up on or something. So man, you're in exterior doors.
Yep, we sell, install, and repair replacement entry doors on for houses for people who want to upgrade, need an upgrade, want an update, stuff like that. We don't really do any new construction.
And you can make good money in new construction.
Absolutely.
You can make a better relationship, better customers, all kinds of things by taking care of customers. And repairs are amazing.
Yep.
The roofing companies that do repairs normally are your best roofing companies.
Yep.
It's pretty good because I never thought about interior doors like that.
Yep.
Or exterior doors.
Yep.
But you do interior, you do back doors.
We do all that.
Man, what made you get into doors?
So it was kind of by accident, to be honest. I'd always been in the trades, grew up doing building and remodeling construction with my dad and my granddad, even some plumbing. I know the two major rules for plumbing. We can talk about that later.
Oh, yeah, I know those rules.
Yeah. But I just kind of fell into it, and I liked it and was pretty good at it. So it's something that serves me well. We're able to serve our people with efficiency and value and, change people's lives. I know that sounds, like you're changing people's lives by changing the door.
Sometimes you can.
I'm changing the people's lives that work for me.
Oh,
right?
no doubt. So I love that.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to jump in here into the comments real quick. Here we go. Mark says, good morning, trades fam. Man, good to see you in here, Mark. Squirt, what is going on with you? And Mark says, I would just say plumbing fam, but there are other trades here. Yes. We're not just about plumbing. I mean, that's what we talk about more than anything because that's what I've done for years. But, man, y'all see me bring all kinds of other tradespeople in here.
You don't want your plumber painting your house or fixing your roof or replacing your door, right? And you don't want your painter doing those things either. I always tell people to get trade specific for all the things.
And the funny thing is you don't want your garage door or your front door guy fixing your plumbing. So when we as plumbers go in and have to cut into sheetrock, I tell them the same thing. They're like, don't you fix that? I'm like, no, man.
No way.
And I kind of told y'all that up front because I do. I make it very clear, but I don't want to come out and say, look, I've already told you that. It's like, well, I kind of told you that up front. I said, look, here's the deal. You don't want your plumber patching your sheetrock hole, just like you don't want your sheetrocker fixing your plumbing. And they're like, okay, that does kind of make sense. All right, let's see. As time is near says, as someone who works in a plumbing wholesale company, as a plumber, what do you look for in a plumbing wholesale company? This is good because Ferguson was a sponsor of mine for many, many years. And I look for service. I look for who's going to help me do the things that I need done when I need it done. Who makes the customer journey easiest? Can I just get online, order what I need, and have it shipped to me either at the job site or at my office or anything like that? What can I do to make things happen? So what about you? And I love that, we talked about this earlier. So we've already done the podcast interview. If y'all are watching this, understand that we did a podcast interview that'll be over on the Trade Talks, and that channel will be up here in a minute. Squirt or somebody will put a link in. But we literally talked about that, about materials, and you don't just piecemeal order anymore, do you?
Nope. Used to. Just go to the supply store and I'd buy 20 pieces of weather strip, 3 door jams, and 1 door or whatever.
And I'll get you through a day.
That'll get me through a day.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have enough money to go buy in bulk, nor did I really have a place to put it if I did, right? Because I was literally working out of my garage Now we have a 15,000 square foot facility that we moved into around Christmas, and we're already trying to figure out for more space.
Yeah,
We've already
it's
outgrown
not
the
big
space.
enough.
Yeah,
No, I get that.
Yeah, so plumbing and heat and air things, like with Ferguson, they do a lot of things, especially at a wholesale level, for a lot of these bigger shops called VMI, vendor managed inventory.
You bet.
I would
They'll
love to
help you-
have something like
They'll
that.
help you take care of it.
Yeah.
Well, see, be the guy that sets that up
Yeah.
for the door industry.
There's a very good chance.
And then you're doing amazing
Yeah.
things. You know, the cool thing is location is big too. And I remember being in an interview process with sponsors. I ended up working with Ferguson, but Reese USA. That Reese is the biggest plumbing supply company in the world. And Ferguson's right now the biggest one in the United States. And Reese literally is like, look, we want plumbing supplies on every street corner like 7-Eleven. And I mean, you ask what it is we really look for. Accessibility is probably number one. What do the logistics look like? If I need a 3/4 90 and I've got to drive, say, 20 minutes to the big box store or 45 minutes to a plumbing supply because they can't get it to me right now, I mean, it's logical. Where am I going to go?
Time is money.
Man, every single day. Rob DeLisi, how are we doing? Says, why are older plumbers so opposed to ProPress and MegaPress? It just makes life so much easier. And it does. And look, I love MegaPress. It lets me, as a residential plumber, do things most other residential plumbing companies can't do because they don't know about it. So that part's pretty neat. But look, ProPress is about the same way. We've done tests. We've blown stuff apart. I love the blast chamber that we have. So when we're looking at videos, part of it is always, look, how can we test this? We've got some things coming up where Squirt and I were sitting in here the other day doing up a drawing. This is what I want to do. This is where I want it to leak. This is how we're going to fix it. And this is how we're going to test it. So we go through a lot of that. ProPress is amazing. We don't diss that very often. Squirt put the link in right there to the Trade Talks YouTube channel. If y'all have not subscribed to that, I'd recommend going over there, hit the subscribe button. Then you get to see the video that we shot earlier in about another week or so. Cool Architect in the house says, my upstairs Kohler Highline Class 5 just started leaking on August the 8th. It wakes me up when I sleep. Man, I've got videos about replacing the inside of toilets, and it's not very hard to do. And I mean, I'm standing next to a door guy. Don't mean that bad, which is like a carpenter, trim carpenter, specialist, all rolled up in one. But you're adding a bathroom in your house right now.
Yeah, so I've always been I understand things, right? Like I said, there's 2 rules to plumbing. My dad taught me, right? It all runs downhill and paydays on Friday. So
yeah, and
right?
don't bite your fingernails.
I are a plumber now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But,
hey, there's a politician in Texas tried making it where anybody could be plumbers.
I literally last week was referencing some of your videos on how to do certain things, and a lot of stuff like replacing your car, even replacing the toilet itself. You know, there's 3 bolts basically.
Yeah,
or
it's
4
not
if you got to
too
put it
terribly
together.
hard.
It's not.
Yes.
It's not rocket surgery, and tons of resources online, especially Roger's channel is amazing.
It's all over out there.
Yep.
It makes it easy though. Yeah, you could literally probably get online. Now I don't remember which one the Highline Class 5 is, but what I would do is get online. How do you rebuild it? It's probably just the fill valve. That's normally what it is. And I've actually got a video where you turn the water off, take the fill valve apart, clean it, and put it back together. 9 times out of 10, that takes care of your problem. So not too bad. Mr. Jason Smith in the house. How we doing, sir? And every time I see Mr. Wakefield, I'm like, man, where's Dad? Where's he at? And I know he's not in the room. He passed away, but that's my first thought. Colton put it in there too. There is a link to the Trade Talks. Guys, the cool thing is there's so much information on YouTube that can help you. And I love my other channel because when we put this whole thing together, it was literally, you and I talked about learning and knowledge and keep learning and whatnot. And I will go into one of these videos, even on mine, pull it up, and that's what I listen to driving down the road.
Yep.
It's education. And as long as you can keep educating yourself, you're doing something pretty good. My brother, Poor Pumper Societies, is in the house. Look, we talked about septic systems. If you've never seen him, go check out his channel. He's got his money shots. He's got stuff going on over there, and his money shot is not quite the money shot you would be thinking.
No,
but man, look, brother, good to see you in here. I hope everything's going well. Dom's a great guy. Works with his dad. They run, man, Central Texas.
I hope they eat their sandwich out of the baggie when they eat lunch.
Oh no, he don't care. He'll stand there and work and eat a sandwich. He don't care. Good to see you, brother. I hope everything go well. But if you're in here and you have not checked out his channel, guys, jump over to Poor Pumper Society, and man, it's a pretty cool deal. You keep raising that mic up to make me feel even shorter.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lower mine down here. I'm gonna lean down here on the counter and yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah, you'll end up hurting your knees, see? Cool. Architect says, I looked inside my toilet tank and the gasket separated, and staples and patched it up until I get to Home Depot tomorrow and get a new one. Man, good for you. And you know what? If you're going to wait that long, you can probably get online, order one, just have it delivered to you.
Just turn the water off if you don't need to use it, and then you don't have to listen to it
That's
drip.
it. Turn it off, turn it on when you're using it, flush it, and then turn it off again.
If you're like me, though.
Well, he says he stapled it together. It worked.
Oh, well, if you're like me, when you go to turn the water off, in the older
break a
houses,
valve or
they got
something.
those full turn valves, and you got to deal with that.
And then you got to worry about the washer in there. Is it any good? Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff there. This vandalist says, I'm a fan from the channel. I have a law degree, and I wanted to work in that field. I can't get a job with my diploma. I should have just got a job in the trades. You know, man, and I hate to say this, but I talked to, well, when I was on Dr. Phil, we talked about attorneys, but we talked about different things like that. There's so many people right now going to school for a degree that they're not going to get to use. And I don't just mean law, but I mean, think about it. We're getting where Chat GPT can write up your business agreement. Should you have an attorney look it over? Absolutely. But now that attorney goes from 40 hours work to an hour's worth of work. And there's a lot of jobs that we're phasing out. And I hate to see that because, we've got people training to be truck drivers. Used to be a great career. People made a lot of money driving all around the country. But now we're building automated vehicles. You don't think they're already thinking, hey, if we built automated trucks that could run 24 hours a day, where the truck driver has to sleep for at least 8 hours a day, I believe it is, or at least document that he was on the side of the road sleeping. Man, there's a lot of trades that are careers that are going to go away.
I got a thought on that, especially if you're interested in the trades. You and I were talking earlier in the podcast about a friend of ours and others who don't even know how to do the trade that they own the business in. Mm-hmm. So if you have any kind of business acumen, you can be a business operator.
You bet.
And start a plumbing company and not even know, what wrench to get out of the toolbox.
Yeah, right? and that's a deal too. Because if you've got a law degree, you know how to learn.
Yeah.
So go to work for a plumbing company, and I say plumbing can be plumbing, electrical, HVAC. It can be a home service company, and come in and say, look, I have a degree, but I really want to work in a company like this, and come in and work your way through it. Become a project manager, become a manager, become
an operations manager.
Learn to move your way up to ops manager. Now, one day, 5, 10, 15 years from now, you walk out and buy your own plumbing company and say, look, I know how to run this.
Yep.
And man, I teach people how to do that. One thing, we were with Bill Walsh last night. And one thing that I've talked to Bill about is it's very easy to teach an entrepreneur how to come into a company, because most service companies, number one, are not ran the right way. They don't have systems and processes in place to do things right. And they're not making the profit margins that they should. But most business owners or entrepreneurs are pretty good about that. And they can literally walk into a company and say, hey, look, we're going to fix this, we're going to fix this, we're going to fix this. Keep the plumber, electrician, HVAC tech on as a manager, the face of the company, things like that, but give him systems and processes. And man, you can buy 90% of the company, keep him on, keep paying him, keep him busy. And then when he's ready to retire, you say, look, either you hire somebody to replace his license or you keep him around. And now he's got a retirement plan. So it's not a bad deal.
Yeah. When you look at these things, also try not to look at them linearly, right? Like we all get a lot of times trapped in looking at opportunities and just doing things the way they've always been done. When you can kind of go off the linear path and come up with your own thoughts and innovative ideas, there's not a lot of innovation in the way some of these companies are run anymore. And an outside perspective sometimes brings just that little spark that generates a lot of new growth.
To help them do amazing things. Andres Hernandez, how are we doing? Says, good morning, guys. Thank you. You're more than welcome. Tyrex says, are plumbers able to one-man it like HVAC? Are they able to be independent and start companies so easily? Absolutely. As long as you've got your master license, your RMP, it's easy. I mean, that's how I started my company. Literally, when I started my company, it was me in a truck. I was advertising. I was doing the work. I was coming home. I was trying to do invoicing until I couldn't. But once I got so busy that, okay, I can't do all this anymore, I hired a plumber to run the calls. Then I could get out, network more, market more, invoice more, and do different things until I brought Julie in to answer the phones and do the invoicing.
Yep.
So big difference. So that is true in just about any industry. Co-architect says, I was panicking like crazy. I called my dad ASAP. I get that. Nightbot's going to get onto you for using all caps. Jason Smith says, cool. Replace everything inside the tank. They're all the same age. Yeah, if you've got, and he's right, all the parts inside are the same age. The only one I'd think about maybe not replacing would be the flush valve, because that's what the flapper's attached to. But if you had a gasket you stapled, you may have the cylinder, so could go either way. Got happy Saturday there. Tyler Hathaway says, as a business owner, is it standard to make new apprentices sign long-term contracts in order to send them to school? What are your thoughts here?
Well, here's something that I heard from someone way smarter than me. What happens if I hire someone and train them and teach them everything and they leave? What happens if you hire someone and don't train them and they stay?
Stay with you forever.
Yeah. So it all boils down for me to culture, right? If you build the right culture where people want to work and want to serve under a good leader, you probably couldn't run them off with a dirty mop, right? And when you treat people right and you invest in them and pour into them and help them, create a vision and a future, most of the time they'll stick around. You're going to lose some. Doesn't matter, whether you send them to school or not.
And the union does this. The union brings you in and says, look, we're going to train you for 5 years. In order for it not to cost you, you've got to stay another 5 years. But that's good, because then that makes your pension kick in. So, I have heard of this before, but you've got to think about it. If a company is going to bring you in and invest money in your training, they want to keep you around long enough to recoup it. Now, a lot of that's on them if they built the culture to keep you around. If not, it may not be a company you want to go to work at. A lot of different ways to look at it.
Yep.
Paul Johnson says, Roger Wakefield, what's up? It is just another beautiful day. Poor Plumber Society says, we raw dog it. I'm telling you, man, watch his channel, guys. You're going to love it. Thorax the Plumber says, hey, Roger, took me a mini staycation, got my wisdom teeth pulled on Wednesday, and returning to work on Monday to finish. First job is set a tub. Thanks. I tell you what, man, I remember the first time I went out and set a tub by myself. I was working for Beverly Plumbing, Austin, Texas. Scared the mess out of me. But once I got it out, it's like, wait, man, this is just like new construction now. Drop a new one in, hook it up. It was beautiful. Jason says, cool architect, please do not put in tank cleaners in your tank. They will eat up everything. Jason, you need to go back and look at my videos, brother, because we've done some. That's not always true. We have a beautiful woman in the house, Miss Jennifer Klein. You ever heard of a lady named Jennifer Klein?
Yeah, she's my stalker.
Your stalker?
Yeah.
Should we call security?
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet. We were talking about how he married way up earlier. Just going to throw that out there. Jennifer says, good morning, Roger, my new bestie. Appreciate your how-tos to get my bathroom. Billy has taken them on blast, running the plumbing upstairs. Well, Thank you, Miss Klein. Great to have you in here. Cool Architect says, I meant to say I used staples to patch it up until I go to the Home Depot. There you go. I get it. Cool Architect says, my angle stop to my toilet upstairs is soldered and it hasn't been shut off in 10 years. And my dad is worried it won't shut off, but first try to see if it actually shuts off. Here's what I would tell you is, number one, know how to turn the water off to your house.
First and foremost.
If you're a homeowner and you don't know how to turn the water off to your house, there's a problem already. You need to learn to do that, but learn to turn the water off. Now go up, try to turn off the angle stop, try to flush the toilet. If it keeps running, the water didn't shut off. Now go shut it off at the meter. Now you can drain your house down and change out the angle stop, or you may just be able to go buy the washer and replace it on the inside to fix it. So
I got a funny story about knowing how to turn the water off. I don't know if I know you remember. I don't know. A lot of the people may not be from Texas, but when we had that deep freeze, we all talk about, was it 2019,
2021?
Yeah, 2021.
21.
There
or
was, and then it happened again a couple years later. You know, we all learned a lot the first time because everybody had pipes. I luckily didn't have any, but you know, several of my neighbors had issues, and none of them knew where I could go help them. You know, at least get the water off, but no one knew where their water meters were.
Yeah,
so
crazy.
Always know where your water meter is if you're messing with plumbing.
That's the answer to the question. I shot a video for American Standard. That's how I got voted or picked as the expert plumber by them. Know how to turn your water off, no matter what. And not just that, every kid in your house should know how to turn the water off, because if you're not there, who are you going to call? It does happen.
Periodically go out to your meter also and open it up. Make sure there's no wasps. Make sure there's not full of mud.
Or
you know,
drug needles, or you'll be surprised what you'll find in there. Matthew Tejera says, what's better to find cuts on your hand, primer or flux? They're both going to find it. The purple primer works great because then it'll turn really dark purple. Once you try to rinse everything off, it's not coming out. I would probably choose rubbing alcohol or something instead, but I promise you, flux and primer will both do it.
I can't do PVC without getting it all over.
I know.
Me, you know.
Elliot Lindsley says, what do you think about hot water recirculation pumps using a dedicated return pipe versus using the cold water line? Doing a little research into design, and I'm curious what you think about it. Elliot, I think if you're building the house in the beginning and you can put in a dedicated return line, great thing to do. Go to the furthest outlet from the house, or maybe even the furthest in each direction. But I also I'm getting ready to do a video where I install a circulation pump at my house, and I don't have a return line, so we're putting in a comfort fitting. And man, I'm going to do it and play with it and let y'all know exactly what I think about it. Cool Architect says, my toilet keeps leaking right now, and it doesn't. It doesn't shut its mouth. Okay, there you go. Lost in Zona says, what's better to find? Okay, we did that one already. Hey, Roger, can you come to the something Home Depot in New Jersey, and can you do a live video there and stuff like that? I know you have other stuff, but just like to be nice. Yeah, call Amber and find out what the cost is to get me there for 2 or 3 days, and we can do anything. Cool Architect says, I want to meet you in person one day. I announce all the time what conferences I'm going to, where I'm going to be, and it is easy to do.
He's just as cool in person, if not cooler.
It's a scary thought, isn't it? Jason says, I want to meet him one day. Okay. Mark, guys, it's easy to meet me. I'll be at PHCC in Alabama next month. I'm always speaking at conferences. It's really easy to find me. Mark says, I'm a second-year plumbing apprentice, but have approached this process of eventually running my own company with a great teaching culture. So it's nice to have time to get my game plan together. Culture is what it's all about.
If you're in business and you want to grow it all, you have to install or develop, or at the base level, you have to be a leader that people want to follow, and who you are and your company and your brand are basically your culture. It's what people think and say about you when you're not there.
And it's huge. I mean, normally people don't leave for other companies. They leave because they have a problem with the owner of the company or whoever they're working for.
They leave bad bosses, not bad jobs.
Right. And so it's something to think about. And guys, something I want y'all to think about too is look, as you grow, as you do things. And it's funny because talking to Billy earlier, he's like, look, I used to set up my own advertising, my own little funnel, my own CRM. And we're teamed up with Go High Level. If you want to, I think there's a link up at top that will take you there. Go, if you own a company of any kind, I recommend going up there, let them take you through the process, talk to you, tell you what all they do and how they do it. Because at the end of the day, no matter how good I am on social media, I can't turn it up. I can't make my phone ring more. Not this week. Now, I can say, okay, we're going to increase how many videos we put out. We're going to increase our monthly views. And you know what? By next year, that's going to drive more traffic. I get that. That makes perfect sense. But the truth is, I can use social media to offset my paid marketing, but I always need a marketing plan in place where if I look at a schedule next week, today's Saturday, if I look at a schedule next week, I'm like, man, we don't have enough to keep everybody busy. Now I can throw
some paid in there.
$10 a day, $100 a day, $1,000 a day. You have a system in place that you know, hey, if I spend $1,000, I'm going to get 10 new calls. That's $100 a call that it costs you. But if your profit margin is $1,000 a call, you're like, hey, I spent $1,000, I made 9,000 because it multiplied 10 times out.
Yep.
So learn how to do that and learn how to look at that. That stuff is huge.
While you're doing it along the way, build a brand, right? Like
always build a brand.
It's like an oak tree. The best time to plant an oak tree was 10 years ago, and the second best time is today.
Right now.
If you're starting today, it takes a long time for a brand to bring any kind of value or equity. However, one of these days you're going to look up and be like, wow, where'd this oak tree come from, right? And then you don't have to do paid marketing because everyone looks you up by name, like Roger Wakefield, the guy.
Check out Go High Level. They've got systems and processes in place that can help you make more money. And that's really what it's all about. Cool Architect says, Jason, I didn't put any tank cleaners in. Looked at the gasket. It was like discolored. It's like dark red when the gasket was supposed to be yellow. Didn't put any tank cleaner. It just wears. And it does. Guys, look, we've got chemicals in our water. I mean, I hope y'all know that. We've got chlorine. We've got calcium. We got magnesium. We have all kinds of stuff in our water. If you want to, there's a place called something like Check My Water. Maybe Randy can find the link. It's on the Halo website. But you can find out what's in your water. You put in your zip code, and it will run a report or check, because the reports have all been ran. It can run a report and tell you what is in the water in your area. And I mean, you would be surprised to know how much over the limits they allow these public municipalities, the water, to go on certain chemicals. And that's why we recommend whole house water filtration systems. And I love Halo 5. I think if you're using Plumber's Choice, you need to realize that's not the Plumber's Choice. That's a BS product.
Over time, I have a question. Over time, like, can you expect, especially on older houses that have copper with soldered fittings, does the water quality itself and the chemicals in the water affect the copper and the solder and things like that?
It really doesn't affect the solder. That's why soldering is still, to me, the best way to go in. But what it does do or can do, if there's any impurities in it, you know, most of our copper comes from Mexico. It's made in there. And if a grain of sand ends up in that copper and creates a little hole for that water to rub on and tear on, it makes it turbulent. It'll start eating it away. And that's where our pin drops come from. So that's how we get the leaks.
I pulled down my attic stairs one day and it's like, ping, just a little spray of water.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that in a solder joint. I've taken apart solder joints that had no solder at all. How they survived, and the one I'm talking about was literally about 20 years old.
Wow.
I went to replace a hose bib at a house, and I get my wrench on it, and I've already got the water shut off, thank God, but I get my wrench on it, and I'm going to turn it to unscrew the top to start draining it down, and literally it starts turning, and I'm like, okay, I'm looking around for cameras. I'm like, okay, this is a joke, because I know this angle stop that has been, or not angle stop, boiler drain that has been on this line for about 20 something years. I know it has not lasted this long.
Wow.
And never been soldered. And what they did, they had fluxed it up really hard. It was green all around her, and that's what was literally holding it together. So, man, it's kind of crazy. But I've seen some solder joints that were really good that had a pinhole leak. That, I mean, the mist was so fine, no water like hit the ground. It's just kind of, it was a trip. So I've seen it all. Zona says, how does a plumber get their work hours from companies that are no longer in business? I hope you kept your pay stubs, your check stubs. Guys, this is a good one. It would be smart if you're in the trades, if you're an apprentice and you're trying to get your license, go to your plumbing company at the end of December every year and say, look, I need to go ahead and get a report for my hours. Depending on what state you're in, you might be able to contact the Texas State Board and say, look, I worked at this company full-time for 2 years or 3 years or whatever it was. And they may be able to say, look, go to the plumbing supply house where you used to go get parts. Go to the contractor that used to hire that company. There's lots of different ways that they can help. But in Texas, if you're registered as an apprentice, you've kind of got track of those hours anyway, because, I mean, a full-time job is 2,080 hours a year. So more if you work a lot of overtime.
You could probably also go against your tax return and divide it by the, hourly wage
how much your total annual income was. My dad really hates turning the water off to the house because of the air in the pipes. How long does it take for air to escape? When you turn off the water, you don't let air in unless you open something up. Now, if you're draining it all the way down, you're going to let more out. I get that. But my thought is, turn the water off, undo your angle stop, catch the water there, replace the angle stop, put it back on, take the drain or the water line out of it, put it in a bucket, turn the water back on. You're going to purge most of your air out of that line right there. Something worth trying.
It doesn't create any problems, though. Just pushing the air back through the fixtures,
pushes
right?
air.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Zona says, my Facebook comment came through. I came to YouTube to ask the same. Yes. Look, we're on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. We're on YouTube. We're on TikTok and Instagram. Man, great seeing y'all in here. Quite a bit of people. So this is always good. If you're on TikTok or Instagram and you have questions, please jump over. And I'm going to say YouTube, but I guess you can also go to Facebook, LinkedIn, and ask your questions, and we'll see what happens.
It looks like a air traffic control center in here.
I know it does. I've got
very
two 48-inch monitors
high
here.
tech redneck.
We do things all in. Jackson Barrett says, minutes at most, start opening faucets, and it will be able to get out. Yes, indeed. WB says, is construction plumbing hard? Yeah, it's not. I mean, look, nothing's hard, guys. Learn how to do it. Learn how to do it right. It's not hard.
If a door guy can do it, anybody can do it.
I
plumbed the house I built in Texas. You're allowed to do it in your own residence.
Absolutely. As long as it is your residence, it's your homestead, you're allowed to do it. But you didn't just do plumbing.
Nope. I did the electrical too.
You know?
You're allowed to do that too.
Find out how to do it.
I didn't do the heat and air. I knew my limitations.
Well, that's kind of heavier equipment.
Or the drywall.
Yeah, that's one I don't want to do. Mark says it's pretty clear. Cool. You have to open up your tub on warm to let the air bleed out and hose bibs outside. Well, open the tub on cold if that's the line that has the air in it. Don't try to pull it over to your hot. Because if you open it on hot, it's liable to pull that line all the way back through the water heater, depending on where it is. And I'd never want air in my water heater. If you're ever in Arizona, coming to meet you, sir. Sometimes I speak at Phoenix, and sometimes I speak in Scottsdale. So I've done Arizona before.
It's kind of like saying you're from Garland and nobody knows where it's at. Dallas, Phoenix and Scottsdale are about the same thing.
They're right next door to each other. I get it. Thanks for the info. Looking forward to the video. Elliot, more than welcome. Thank you. Flight of Nature says, best plumbing code book, please recommend. Well, the code book, the code book is the code book. Now, we've got the UPC or IPC. You've got to figure out what code you're built under. So the Uniform Plumbing Code is, to me, the most amazing study guide. The IPC is really good, too. I mean, I'm not going to complain about it. Buy their study guide. Mark it up like I tell people to do it, and it will be amazing.
I have a question against that. Different municipalities use different versions or go by different versions,
You
right?
have
Or
to look at
different-
the addendums.
Yeah.
Go to each city that you're in and look at the addendums. It's huge.
Some of them could be working off of something that's not even, it's 10 years
It's not
old or
current.
something, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Levi Sebastian Vernberg, hope I got that right, says, yo, Plumber from Norway here. Love your content. Well, number one, welcome from Norway. Glad to have you here. What time of day is it for you? Because right now for us, it's about 11:36, 7, 8 in the morning.
Norway, that's crazy.
I know.
I think they eat fish over there that smells like our septic tanks.
I've seen people do that here. Just saying. Cool Architect says, if you take the lid off your toilet tank, can you hear your toilet drain quietly? Well, you don't really want to hear it drain unless you're flushing it. Everyone in this chat, hashtag Kohler. Why? I mean, Kohler's good, but why do you want everyone to hashtag it? Mark says, WB, I feel it can be easier in some ways because you're not in small crawl spaces and have more open space to work. But it depends on what you like. I literally had a kid that couldn't do construction because once he got up to the 5th floor, this kid freaked, panicked. He's standing on a roof and, I mean, almost wet his britches. And he did. He stood there crying. All of a sudden, he realized, wait, I'm up high. Well, yeah, you climb 5 different ladders or stairs to get up here. Went up here to work with another plumber and then realized, I don't want to be up here. So, Mark, it depends on what is easier for you. I love service work. Crawling under houses to find leaks, crawling through tight spaces. It's pretty cool. Jared Tucker, how we doing? Good to see you, brother. Says, hey, Roger, what part of city code lets you run a water hose across a public street to another resident that has their water turned off to give them public water? I'm concerned about backflow, health hazards in Fort Worth. Yeah, I don't think there's anything in the code that allows that.
That's interesting. You can do that?
I've
could.
never seen that in the code, but yeah, you could.
I guess eventually if you had a two-way
Female
connection.
to female connector.
And you're turned off at the street, it'll eventually fill your pipes up.
It will work. Cool Architect says, I'm 15 years old. Congratulations.
The guy that's working on the toilet's 15 years old?
I guess. Cool
Wow,
Architect.
that's
what he's
amazing.
saying.
Yeah.
Elliot Lindsley says, any plumbing reference repair education books you'd recommend? Yeah, the one I just talked about, the UPC study guide, it's my favorite. The IPC study guide, just as good. If you're wanting to see pictures and stuff like that, the illustrated plumbing guide is fantastic. Greg Enriquez says, what advice do you have for a plumber that is pretty close to getting their master license? Or what next? Open your own business. You know, here's the deal. First of all, you've got to know why you want to open your own business. If your only why is to make money, it's not a big enough reason. You've got to be opening it for a reason. Because if you don't, it's a lot of headache. It's
Having
a lot
your
of
license
stress.
is only half the battle, too.
Yeah, there's more to it than read the E-Myth book. That there's a lot of information that you need. It blew my mind about all the things I didn't even know that I didn't know.
Create a vision. If you have a vision and this supports your vision for your life, for your family, your why, your who, your how, absolutely. Do not get discouraged. It's not easy, running a business, but being a tradesperson is literally less than half of what you need to start a business and run it. Marketing is tough, right? It's easy to get
Marketing's hard.
leads when when you just want to work a few days a week or whatever, knocking on doors or getting referrals. But when you start to scale, it becomes the biggest challenge is making the phone ring.
Denver says, yo, Roger, when you were in the union, did you find that the work was slow up here in Ontario? There's barely work. It depends. I mean, I've seen the union slow. I've seen the union slammed. It can literally go either way. You've just got to, keep looking. Here's the deal, Denver. Even when times are slow, if you're the best worker, you're going to work. People don't want the best worker not working for them. So look at it, think about it, and it kind of works the way it does. And I'll tell y'all right now, I was literally in bed all day Thursday with a pulled calf muscle. and I'm starting to feel it right now. So I don't know how long we'll be going here with me standing on it, but I want to tell y'all, hey, we're having fun so far. Biff Boy 600 or 6,000, welcome back. Good to see you. Michigan is here. Is there a way to complete the schooling hours needed for plumbing faster? I feel like I know enough to test out faster. You know, man, and I'm going to talk about this because we talked about this a few weeks ago. We shot a video about this. I think that having to wait 4,000 hours for your tradesman or 8,000 hours for your journeyman or 16,000 for your masters, I think that's a little too much. All these hours were figured before we had social media like we have. People can get in and learn things in a completely different way. You don't have to learn just from a journeyman out in the field. You can have people teach you and do really, really good. So there's not really a way to speed it up unless you work for a company that'll say that you worked a ton of overtime. I mean, I had 1 year in the union. I think I worked 3,500 hours. That's almost doubles every day.
Almost 80 hours a week.
Yeah, but I was doing that almost all the time. And there'd be some days that, you know, we'd work straight through for different things. I was working at Texas Instruments. They never shut down. And when they've got problems, they've got some equipment out there that I've tried to shut down or scheduled for a shutdown to fix a leak on a water line or to fix something. And they come back and it's like, that machine makes us $1 million an hour. We cannot shut it down. And it's like, dang. It's like, y'all ain't worried about the water leak then, are you? They're like, oh God, no.
We can get a hose.
We can get more water.
Get a hose clamp.
Yeah. Put a rubber band on it. Do something. Lucino says, is it true the best way to get an electrician to pick up a broom is to put a Klein sticker on it? Probably. And that is good.
That's hilarious.
That is good. And you said you did the plumbing and electrical on your house.
Yep.
When you did the plumbing, did you clean up and the electrical you didn't?
Yeah, I
waited for somebody else to do it?
I also did all the cleanup.
Man.
That's why it took me so long.
I love it.
Yeah.
My heart skips 2 beats after I turn the sink on and air escapes from it. It'll quit. It'll just get it all out. Born Free says oils off the fingers left on the pipe before flux can cause those areas of the solder joint where the solder is missing. Yep. Thanks for all the knowledge. Your show puts back into the trade. Number one, thank you very much. There was no solder on this. That, you know, when you have any solder, when you sand it, you can see the tinning, the silver. There was no solder. It looked like once I cleaned all the flux off, it looked like a new piece of copper. And it was like, man, this is just freaking nuts. So I've never seen it before and never seen it since then. Flight of Nature says, thanks for the information. Really appreciated. You are more than welcome. Cool Architect says, I meant channel locks are the GOAT. Okay, makes sense. If you keep with the caps, Cool Architect, Nightbot will shut you down, baby. There it is right there. Stop with the caps. Joseph Barone says, lead and oakum joint facing the wall. Will a carbide blade do the trick? Absolutely. I mean, you get the right blade in there, you can do amazing things. Guys, if you're going to do caps, I'm just going to skip right on past it just to make it easy.
Why do they do that? Just maybe you'll see it first or something?
I guess. Well, you know, all caps are supposed to be screaming and yelling, and that's why the Nightbot is like, yeah, we will. The Nightbot will literally boot you out, just so you know. Somebody over here asked to join my live stream. Sorry, I can't bring people in live, but I appreciate it. And this is TikTok and Instagram. What I would recommend is if you want to join the live and ask questions and stuff, please go over to YouTube, go to the YouTube channel, put your question in, put a Q in front of it, and it will be great. Hockey Chaz says, hey, Roger, hope you're doing well, sir. I tell you what, I'm doing wonderful. I get to tell people every day I'm living the most amazing life I could have ever imagined. And I get to do that through the trades.
You know, it's pretty cool, like getting to know you and getting to meet you and seeing, you know, I've been consuming of your content for a long time before I ever met you. This is the same guy you know, in
You
person.
saw me last night
Yeah,
in person.
the same guy in person as he
breakfast this
is right
morning.
here. So genuine, and what he puts out is who he is. You know.
You know, the neat thing about that, and Billy, I appreciate that, because the neat thing about it is, I mean, I've got friends that I grew up with. I mean, I've got friends that I went to school with 12 years, first grade to 12th grade. Every single year we were together. And the whole funny thing about it is I see them these days and they're like, dude, you hadn't changed at all. And it's funny because I haven't. I'm the same guy that I was when I was in high school. So I love what I get to do. I get to touch people's lives. I get to bring people into the trades. I get to help people grow. So I really do. I've got it going pretty good.
I think you need about 10 bots to get out there because, you know, you've got a big voice and a big platform. But, you know, I keep telling my kids that if they'll learn a little bit and learn how to do something with their hands, fewer and fewer people are in the trades. And there's going to be a huge deficit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
I still think, and, you know, I probably started saying it a year or two ago, but I'm going to stick with the same number. In 5 years, okay? So I'd say that 2 years ago. So I know in 5 years now I'm going to be right. Plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs are going to be making $100 an hour on their check because the attorneys are getting out and they can't get jobs. There's over 1 million unfilled trades jobs across the United States today. In the next 3 years, and I'm trying to remember what Dr. Phil said, it's either going to be 3 million or 4 million unfilled trades jobs. The way we're going. Supply and demand is kicking in, guys. If you are a good plumber, and I mean good, if you're one of the best, if you've read the book, The Dip, and you are, look, I'm trying to be the best plumber each and every day, that plumber's going to make whatever he wants to make because every company around is going to want him because there's less people filling those positions. And it's huge.
So if you're young, like the guy earlier was asking about starting his own plumbing business, learn a little bit about business.
You're headed the right way.
You're pointing in the right direction. In 10 years, there's going to be half as many plumbers or electricians or whatever, tradesmen in general. And there's going to be more houses and more apartments and all the things, right?
And somebody's got to build them. Somebody's got to fix them.
The infrastructure is also going to be 20 years older than it is now. And, you know, a lot of modern plumbing now in another 20 years is going to be 70, 80 years old, right?
I love it.
And it's never ending.
I love it. Hockey Chad, I am doing very well. Thank you, sir. Mark says, is the California Plumbing Code the same as Uniform Plumbing Code? Call California and ask them. I don't know.
Is anything in California the same as anywhere else?
No, it's not. They've got their own everything. Seems to have the same titles for the chapters. And that would be logical because then when a plumber comes from Texas to California, wait, that never happens. Then when plumbers come from California to Texas, they at least know where to look in the book. True. I got somebody here on LinkedIn says, what are the best ways to manage referral programs with other companies? Tons of opportunity to refer out restoration and also receive jobs from them. Just get out and build those relationships and then ask, hey, if we were to refer people to each other, how can we do that where it's beneficial to both of us? Good thing to look at, though. Just Hezekiah, hope I got that right. Do you recommend rebuilding a PRV or buying a new one for a commercial building? You know, it depends. If I test it and I can tell you what zone's gone bad, I'll check can I buy the zone? Can I replace it? I used to be certified where I could install, test, and repair backflow preventers. So I love the idea of doing that. They sell the kits for a reason. You can actually, most of these things, literally, you take a few bolts or screws apart, pull it out, certain zones slide out, you slide the new one back in, test it again, you're good to go. So I love being able to just repair them.
Tell me like I'm 5, what's a PRV?
A pressure reducing valve.
Oh, okay.
So if you've got 100 pounds of pressure coming into a house, you can set it to where it only allows 80 into the house.
I like it.
Colton says, don't forget to give the stream a thumbs up. Yeah, guys, if you like what you see in here, man, hit the thumbs up button. If you don't like what you see, it's all Billy's fault. So hit the button twice and that'll make it go away.
Yeah.
If you're on TikTok and Instagram, man, give us a thumbs up. If you like what you're seeing, if you like what you're hearing, give us a thumbs up, a heart. See, I saw the heart right there. Thank you very much. And another one. We're going to keep going. I'm going to keep watching. I'm going to keep counting. No, I'm joking. Thank you so much. But guys, really, if you like what you see, let us know. Give us a thumbs up. And it lets YouTube know, hey, Roger's putting out stuff that people kind of like.
He's putting out stuff that people need, right? Like
Every day.
useful stuff, like bringing value.
Every day. And I want to do something really cool. And if y'all do this, come back and give me hearts or something like that. That way I'll know it. And I did this whenever I spoke at an event last night. If y'all are on TikTok or Instagram and you've never watched me on YouTube, go to YouTube and just search the word plumbing. And if you find me pretty quick, come back in and leave me a note, send me a message. Matter of fact, DM me, and Colton will pull that and make some comments about how easy it was to find. And now I'm getting hearts and likes over here on YouTube. I love that. Thank you, man. Look, see, that's the kind of stuff I like. Thank you guys, because it does. It makes me feel good to know I'm doing something good. Denver says, Roger, where are we allowed to refuse being around asbestos? I was at a school and they made me drop ceiling tiles with 2% asbestos. Now I'm concerned about disturbing it. Number one, Denver, if there's asbestos in here, they're supposed to do abatement before you ever get up there and work. And that really can be a big deal. So, yeah, I'd call your company and ask them about it. Maybe if they don't want to reply to you, maybe you call the city. Find out who to report asbestos to. Man, I hate to say it, but I've been in a big remodel in downtown Dallas with the union, and we told us we were safe to work in a bathroom. And we get in there and we're working, and all of a sudden it looks cloudy. And we knew that they were abating that floor around us, but they were supposed to have this sealed off, and look up, and there's a duct vent cut in the Haydot block wall. And it's just literally because they've got negative pressures, positive pressures, the way they set everything. And it is literally just blowing in like a cloud. And we're like, look, get out of here. And we literally walked off immediately, went to the superintendent, told them, they shut them down, and they had to come clean up the room we were in. There were so many things that had to be done. So Denver, it can be a serious problem. Just make sure you take care of yourself. Electricians paint their nails. Seen it on TikTok. Okay, I was just checking. More guys are painting their nails these days. I know that sounds crazy.
I paint mine with purple primer.
With purple primer? See, man, that's what plumbers should do. Be like, I got the prettiest purple nails in town. I like that idea. I see more people doing it each and every day. The more conferences I speak at, the more people I run into. And don't get me wrong, most of these people, you're talking about electricians. They're not smart enough to be plumbers. So, oh my gosh. No, I'm joking. I give electricians a hard time every chance I get.
It's one thing I've always enjoyed about being around the trades at all in the construction industry is just the ribbing that we all give each other.
We do. You know. And the thing is, at the end of the day, because I've had people tell me, you hate handymen. It's like, no, I don't. Handymen are amazing. And they're like, but you talk about you don't like them. No, I don't like it when a handyman does plumbing, electrical, HVAC, anything that requires a permit and an inspection, and they don't do it. The permits and inspection there are here to protect the homeowner. The license in Texas wasn't designed to protect the plumbers and say, hey, now nobody can do plumbing work. It's designed to protect the homeowners to make sure that the properly trained people are dealing with their potable water. Big difference.
And your effluents.
Absolutely. When somebody flushes that toilet, you want that to go away. And people that don't know better, man, I remember seeing an old video, and I hate it because the guy had on a Texas Longhorn cap. But he's like, cross connections. Man, we're out in the country. We don't have that stuff out here. And it's like, oh, my God. Somebody please cover up the Longhorn hat. So anyway, pretty cool. And yes, we're right. Just release the air slowly. Joseph Barone says, Roger, what's the best way to remove a lead and oakum joint that's facing the wall? Hammer, chisel, carbide blade, snap cutter. And look, I kind of have to see it. I'll tell you what, take a picture of it, put it on Roger Wakefield's subreddit, It's called Roger Wakefield Posts. And we'll look at it and see. My first thought is, can you get a torch there to melt the lead and pull it out? And I'm just asking because I don't know. Or can you cut it with the right Sawzall blade? Presixon says, hey, Roger, I've been watching you a while. I'm sorry. No, I'm happy. I'm joking. I have been working with a small city for a long time. I'm used to working on mains that are hot. How well will my experience transfer over to plumbing? You know, your experience isn't going to help you a lot. And I'm going to be honest, because I've done utility work. I've done sewer mains. I've done water mains. I've poured kickers. We've rotted stuff off. It's completely different. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Unless you know you want to do utilities forever, get into plumbing or electrical or HVAC, whatever you want to do. You said plumbing. Get into plumbing immediately. It's going to help you grow. It's going to help you grow to get a license to where maybe if you decide to open your own company one day, it's not very hard to do. So just trying to help. How do you manage referrals? We already did that one. Rob, not me. I like ProPress. You know, look, and I'm glad Squirt put this in here. You use High Level.
Yeah, we use it at work.
And what levels do you use it at? Is it a CRM to you?
No, it's not a CRM for us. We actually use a couple of different programs. We use one called High Level and another one called Chirp.
Okay.
They both essentially perform the same functions, but High Level has you can use it like a CRM. We move a lot of our rehash. So when we go out and do estimates and we don't get a decision right then or whatever, we continue to reach out to those clients through outbound
General
text
reminders,
message.
you bet.
Yeah. Or if we're having a special or program or want to bring awareness to something, we do it through outbound text message. And you're able to, outbound text accounts for 10 to 15% of our sales every single month.
Do you have yours set up, like if I call your company right now, is anybody going to answer?
Absolutely.
What if I call at midnight?
Yes, we have after hours and on weekends we use an answering service, and they go into our CRM. They have access to our CRM and they book appointments.
Do you ever miss calls?
Probably.
Okay. Do you have your website or calls or anything set up to where if you miss a call, if I called and nobody answered, would I get a text back?
No.
I love that about Go High Level.
Yeah.
It literally, because here's the deal: if I call you and you don't answer, and nobody calls me back pretty quick. Within 5 minutes, I've already got somebody else.
Especially if
my door's
sink's leaking or
well,
toilet's overflowing.
And sink, but also your front door.
Absolutely.
You know, somebody tried breaking in overnight. I need the door fixed. I need the lock fixed. I need something fixed. Go High Level has a system to where if you don't answer that call, it can automatically text it back within 5 minutes, and it can set up a chat. It can literally start the conversation. Hey, this is Roger. I know that I missed a call from you, and I really want to help you. What can I do for you? Well, now they're communicating with somebody. So what they're not doing is hiring someone else. You can set up the chat on your website. You can set up the FAQs on your website. There's so many things that you can set up. And if you're a trades company starting out, you're not going to find better pricing. They have systems and processes in place that are going to let you text your people, email your people, set up funnels for advertising. There's a million different things. And one of my favorite things about it is if I had it set up on YouTube, which they don't have it yet, but Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, if I told somebody, hey, if you want to learn more about a whole house water filtration, put the word filter in the comments just so I know. As soon as you put in the word filter, now you'll get a text back. Hey, so you're interested in a whole house water filtration system. I'd like to talk to you more about it. Are you on a well or are you on city water? You can start asking questions and build out an amazing conversation. It is really, really good. But this video is sponsored by Go High Level, so thank you, Go High Level, for everything you do. Rob Delsey says, smart man. I'm assuming he's talking about you, not me. Mason says, so Obama was trying to make me put tampon machines in the men's room. What do you think? Well, what he was trying to do back then, we don't have to worry about anymore. But yeah, if you're, I'm kind of like that Jeremy's Razors. If you're not sure which gender you are, we can help you out with that real quick. It's just my thought. Cool Architect says my grandparents' shore house has a pond in the backyard. Do homeowners need a vacuum breaker spigot? Absolutely. Every place where you connect a garden hose should have a spigot. Everyone. And it should have a vacuum breaker on it. Big deal. Most cities do a water inspection, so that really is a big deal.
Cool Architect, can you put in the chat and confirm that you're 15 years old? I'm really amazed if you are at the level of questioning you have. I'm impressed, and I have hope for our young people.
Absolutely. Reckham says, oh, Reckham's not from that purple college down south. I'm just saying. I've been a plumber for 7 years now, journeyman. Now I'm dealing with 2 herniated discs. I can still work, but don't know if I'm going to be able to continue with the heavy stuff. Stay with it or hang it up. Man, I got to tell you, look, the trades can be tough on your bodies, guys. Any trade. You've got to take care of you. You've got to eat right. You've got to exercise. You've got to do different things. Dealing with 2 herniated discs, man, I would talk to my chiropractor. I would talk to my doctor. I would talk to my preacher and say, look, what do I do here? And number one, I'd be praying on it every day. Somebody show me what to do here.
Yeah. No bueno.
Talk to the doctor, though. Man, I can't tell you. I can tell you I've seen people hurt themselves bad enough that they're like, hey, I gotta get out of this. And I've seen people like, look, I can live with this. So it's really going to be up to you.
Did he? I didn't catch all. Did he say he's a field plumber now?
It says I've been a plumber for 7 years now.
Okay.
So I'm assuming.
Listen, if you're, just a little bit of advice. If you are bringing value in any way, right? Like Roger and I were talking earlier about getting paid for what you know instead of for what you do, right? Mm-hmm. If you work for a company that values people at all and you're bringing value to that company, they'll find a way for you to work in the office to be a trainer or a dispatcher or whatever. So,
and if you've got 7 years experience, you should be able to bring some knowledge and experience.
For sure.
Mason says, is plumbing code going to have new transgender codes if Democrats win? I don't know. Cool Architect says, how does water hammer happen on toilets? Just curious. It shouldn't really happen on a toilet because, or at least not a residential toilet, because your fill valve is a slow close valve. Water hammer normally happens when it slams. Miss Amber Mendoza in the house says, happy sipping Saturday, back to school tax-free weekend in Texas. Too bad it doesn't work for tools. Man, I would fight that argument like, hey, I'm going back to trade school. I want my tax money deducted. I like that.
Maybe your safety glasses and work boots.
Yeah. Denver says, Roger, can you become a millionaire as a plumbing business owner? What do you think?
You can become a billionaire.
Yeah.
We know people who are multi-hundred millionaires that own, they do. There's
some of them started with garage doors.
Yep.
Some of them started with electrical work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can. Guys, here's the deal. And you say as a plumbing business owner, guys, any one of y'all can become a millionaire. It's not that hard to do. And I know that sounds crazy, but if you'll put yourself in the right place to learn and grow and keep learning and keep growing, you can do whatever you want to do. And we talked about this earlier.
I got something real good for you. The difference between what you make now and what you want to make, let's just say you own a plumbing business and you're doing $200,000 a year. If you want to do $1 million a year, the difference between what you're doing now and what you want to do is what you don't know, right? Mm-hmm. So knowledge is what shrinks that gap. So if you start to pour into yourself and learn and find out what you don't know to get you there, find someone that's already doing it and they will help guide you to the right resources so that you can figure that out.
And normally they want to help you.
Absolutely.
It really is so good. Iron doors common. You saw a lot of iron doors?
Oh, yeah, we do a lot of iron doors. Yep.
Great for security?
They are good for security. What a lot of people don't realize is we get a lot of calls for forced entry and things like that. it's normally not the door that breaks. It's normally the door frame, right?
With that little bitty short 1/2 inch screw
Yeah.
going in the striker
The
plate.
builders always put 2 little short screws in the striker plate. We always go back with a 2.5 or a 3-inch screw through the strike plate. Some
Gonna hit
strike
the
plates,
stud.
yeah, you want to catch the stud. Now, is it break-in proof? No. If my granddad always told me locks are for honest people. If someone wants in, they're going to get in.
They'll find a way.
They'll come through the chimney. They'll pull the siding off. They'll break the window.
Come
whatever.
through the chimney.
Yeah. There was some story a few years ago about a guy who was trying to break into
That was
somebody's
Santa
house.
Claus, dude. Okay,
No,
come
no.
on. Don't be pulling this
He
on
was in
me.
there for like a day and a half, and they had to bust the chimney out to get him out. He was trying to break into this lady's house. But,
Okay, guys, don't do that. I'm just going
don't
to
do
tell you.
that.
Don't do that.
But yeah, so iron doors, the full iron doors are welded, right? And the frames are welded, and they have iron frames. So when the deadbolt goes into the iron frame, you're not kicking that one in.
Yeah. You're going to hurt your leg.
Yeah.
And I love that because, and they are common. I knew the steel doors were common, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But guys, one of the best things you can do for a security is, like you said, the striker plate, and go from that little bitty striker plate that has the 2 1/2-inch screws to the longer one that's got like 6 or 7 screw holes in it.
Yeah,
6
so
or 8.
when you use those, usually you have to give up something, right? You give up energy efficiency, or because a lot of times they hinder the weather strip and stuff for security. So if you feel like you live in an area or in a place where you're really concerned about safety and security, absolutely, and you'll have multiple screws. But if you've got somebody that wants to break through that bad enough, you probably got bigger problems. But the whole my whole philosophy behind that is just make it as good as you can, slow people down, and they'll move on down the road to an easier target.
Such a big thing. Sean Gallagher says, Roger and I tuned in. Roger, I tuned in late, so I'm not familiar with the guest name, but do you guys have any places I can go to improve my plumbing knowledge? Well, number one, Billy Klein is not a plumber.
I'm just playing one on TV today.
But he does come over and watch my channel to learn plumbing knowledge. Exterior doors, interior doors, back doors, front doors, all kinds of cool stuff. So where can people find you? Where are you at?
So I'm most prolific on Facebook.
Okay.
My handle on Facebook is Billy the Door Guy Klein. I am, a student of you, a student of social media and all things, and it's coming in here. It literally looks like a space command center. So
It is.
It's a little bit overwhelming to think about all the things you have to do to be everywhere. But so now
I'm the captain.
Yeah. I'm focusing on Facebook. You can find me there. I put out a lot of good content. I talk a lot about business and try and give value to people who are trying to figure out where to start in business. And there's a lot of noise out there in the business world. So that's kind of my what I try and do on Facebook. And then I talk a little bit about, the door stuff. We've got a social media manager and a in-house graphics designer who handles all the
love it.
the business side.
I love it. Richard Ruth says, just switched industries from painting to plumbing. I've been a foreman in paint and drywall for years. Where do I start for the best guides to learn? The uniform plumbing code, I've talked about it many times. I think look, I use that to help me study for my exams. So, and I've got videos in here, Richard, about how to use it. And first of all, thank you for the super chat. I've got videos in here that teach you how to use the UPC guide, how to do the things that I did with it, the way that I've learned it. And I try to explain that to people all the time about, look, this is how I use this. This is how I study this. This is how I do different things. And, you mentioned something earlier, and guys, I interviewed Billy for the podcast. So we've got a link up there, a link to, or it's in here somewhere. You know what I didn't do? We've got a link to, and my team should have come and told me, y'all. But there's my scroller about Go High Level. But we talked about reading books and reading books over and over again. And I wanted to say something, and I just thought about it because of something I saw here. But every time you read a book, if you read the paper version, highlight it in a different color and put the highlights at the beginning. So like if you're doing green, well, green is September of 2023. And that way you see where your mindset is every time you read it, because you're going to highlight something different. I've literally listened to audiobooks driving down the road, and they've said certain things. And I mean, I'm like,
Yep.
wait, they've never said that before. Well, I've listened to the same audiobook, 10 times. And it's like, oh my God, I've never heard that before. Well, I know I heard it before, but whatever mindset I was in, that wasn't a big deal to me at the time. So whether you're listening to the audiobook or reading the paperback, and I love doing both. I'll listen to the audio and then go to the paperback to see it again, think about it again, and highlight the things I want to highlight. And that is such a great thing to do. So whatever you're studying, find great books, keep doing it, and it can be amazing. But the UPC study guide, I think, is phenomenal. Mike Ripped Garrett says, take care of you. I mean, you all got to take care of ourselves. Eating right, working out, exercising. Take care of your body, your mind, your spirit, your finances, everything.
Be careful what you're consuming, and not only as food and drink, but also in your mind,
Yeah. What are you feeding your mind? What are you feeding yourself spiritually? There's so many different things out there that we all need to be looking at. What are we putting in our body? And man, it's neat. Cam last night, we stood around and talked to Cam, Julie and me and Tina and Cam, and I think that was it. And Cam has just been on this health journey. And I mean, you feel him, and he's just this little small, and I say small, he's a stocky guy, but he's very thin framed, but he's solid muscle. He's like, I know exactly every little detail I put into my body, whether it's what I eat, drink, read, whatever it is. And it's like, man, this is good. So neat stuff. Sean Gallagher says, I'm soon to be a graduate of a plumbing school in New Jersey. Did you go to Apex? Just asking. And want to keep up my knowledge with plumbing after school as well. That's one thing that I teach, and I believe in this wholeheartedly. Never stop learning. When you look at especially a licensed professional, we got into the trade to become a plumber, electrician, HVAC tech, doesn't matter. And we've got a license in our pocket to prove it. But the problem is most of us stop learning at that point. It's like, look, I got in this to be a plumber. Now I am one. We set our goals way down here and we hit it. And now we're like, we don't know what to do. So what I want to tell you is never stop learning. Never. You don't just have to learn about your trade, although your trade's amazing. If you'll study your trade, there's new tools, materials, equipment, and technology each and every day. If you will study your trade every day for 30 minutes to an hour, by the end of the year, you're going to be in the top 5% of your industry in the entire world because nobody else is studying it like that.
I've got a learning hack for you too.
What's that?
And you say never stop learning. When you think you've reached a point, have a vision, right? Have a vision for yourself, for your family, for your future. And if you have a big enough vision, you'll never catch up to it in learning. You'll always be pouring something into you to try and catch that vision, and then your vision will shift and move out further, and you need to learn more and more to get to that. So if you create a vision for yourself and keep adjusting it, against your growth, you'll always have something to push you to do, to pour into yourself more to learn.
Huge. And I teach people to do a 136, 135 plan, meaning, and it means you got to go through and change it every month.
Yep.
Okay. But if you just go back and look at it, if there's anything you didn't get to, move it over. What is your goal to have done in 1 month, in 3 months, in 6 months? Then in 1 year, in 3 years, in 5 years. So 136, 135. And each month, go back in and look at it. Is there anything that you didn't get done here that's going to move? And are you doing the things in your 136 that are going to help you reach the goals of your 135? Because if you're not looking at them yet, or have them on your list, or you're not working on them yet, they may get pushed out. And if you're not even looking at them, if you don't have your goals written down, this is where you want to be. It's like driving down the road and you don't know where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, any road in the world will get you there. Know where you're going.
If you don't know what you're aiming at, you'll hit it every time.
Yeah. Mason Ahern says, I have 3 spine surgeries, 4 fusions, and a new disc in my neck. Get help when you need it. You can still win the game. Yeah. And sometimes it's time to step back and say, okay, maybe I've got to change the game I'm playing or change the role I have in this game.
Yep.
You know, there's a lot of NFL players that go into the broadcast booth, that go into coaching, that go into different things. They're like, look, I've got to change the role that I have in this sport. Train yourself. Mike Garrett says, I make $100K plus by myself. And here's the thing. If you can make $100K by yourself, you can make $100 million with a big enough team. You can grow to whatever you want to grow to, believe it or not.
Don't do it for the money.
Yeah.
And you have to have a vision that big.
Born Free says, hey, Roger, first-time caller, long-time listener. I've been using Rehaul A Everlock expansion since 2018. Love it, but never hear much about it. What's your opinion? You know, I've seen them. I've never used them. So
what is it?
These are tool brands.
Oh.
What I would recommend is reach out to them and say, hey, y'all ought to send Roger some tools. Let him see your stuff. Mark says, do you recommend taking courses on business before starting up a company? No, wait till afterwards. That way you screw stuff up before you take the course. And that was very sarcastic, Mark.
Read a book.
Yeah, start with reading books. You don't even have to start your business right now, and you don't have to take courses. Read books that are going to make you think. The most important thing that I learned, Mark, and I said that jokingly, I hope you know that. The most important thing I learned is I didn't even know what I didn't know. And it took Michael Gerber, the E-Myth, to literally, slap me and say, hey, yeah, what you're doing isn't going to work.
I've got a 3-book entrepreneur starter kit for you that are very important.
Okay.
We talked about these earlier. The first book that everyone needs to read, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, if you're in in-home plumbing, you're in sales, right? You go to someone's home, you have to sell them the service you sell. How to Win Friends and Influence People is a book that everyone should read. Everyone in my company that is there now has read those books, and everyone that I bring in reads it. The next one, that will help you to learn how to deal with your team internally and the people you are working for. The next one is the E-Myth. And the next one, which if you want to be an entrepreneur, this will, if you read it before you're an entrepreneur, you're way ahead of the game because it'll show you where everybody's messing up.
Yep.
The other one is Think and Grow Rich.
Which
Think and Grow Rich will help you to create a vision for what's possible. So those 3 books are a great place to start.
Colton, we just got discontinued on one of them. Guys, we got about 10 minutes to go here, and I'm about 10 minutes behind on questions, so I'm kind of going to speed round this. Mike Barfield says, do you have any idea how plumbing works on the space station? Just curious. It's all self-contained. They've got water tanks. They've got sewage tanks. Everything is controlled, pressurized, yada, yada, yada. Cool Architect says, when you're looking at the shore house, then you look at the bathroom, tell me if the toilets are round or elongated. Mason Ahern says, Roger, Boston Plumbing must have mentioned you the other day. Did you see it? I didn't. Colton Squirt, if y'all will see this, if y'all can check that out, see what that is. I know that the Rat Boys, Twin Home Experts, mentioned me because I thought that the product they're using is kind of shady. I would never fix a leak under my house just by putting epoxy in my line and letting it go find the hole and seal it off. Thing? Supposedly it is, and they're promoting the heck out of it. Yeah,
like fix a flat.
Yeah, but it's a ball yay big that it's going to fix a pinhole dot about the size of the tip of a pencil. So, not the way I would do it. And then they're bashing me because I said it sounded kind of shady. I think's what I used. Yeah. They made a video just to bash me for talking about the product that they're using. And now they're like, do y'all think Roger's right? We've always thought he was just overly arrogant and hard to deal with. It's like, dude, I am trying to help people each and every day.
Cutting out a leak and putting in a repair piece of pipe
let's not do it right.
Is arrogant.
Yeah, let's not. Well, he's trying to sell plumbing, tunneling up under a house and do it. Man, we've got black clay here. We tunnel under houses every day. Yeah, anyway.
I repiped my whole house. We got rid of everything in the slab. We basically built a new house around an old slab. where the water
That's
came
pretty
in
funny.
the slab. I just pushed it all up in the attic and repiped the whole thing in pegs.
That's pretty cool. Biff Boy 6000 says, listening while snaking my shower drain. Thanks for your time as always. Thank you, sir. Cool Architect, is the toilet bowl round? We don't know yet. Don't know. Richard Ruth says, UPC study guide. You got it. Thank you. I love that book. I'm telling y'all. Mason Ahern says, I'm doing one-arm push-ups right now. Good for you. I wish I could do that. Reckham, also not the Purple College.
It's the red one.
Texas Tech, man, that's almost, I mean, come on. Y'all throw tortillas on the field. What's the purpose here? And man, I'm joking. Look, whether it's A&M, which is really hard to admit it, OU Tech, it doesn't matter. Look, going to college is a great thing if the career you choose, if that helps you get there. I've got a niece that went to OU and it breaks my heart, but she's good. Mark says, yeah, Richard, just bought mine last weekend, started marking the answers to study. Good for you guys. I hope y'all clicked on the link in my video. That way I'll make a buck or two. Just saying. I don't remember. There you go. Cool Architect round is generally smaller, elongated. Got that. Cool Architect says, Biff Boy, have you heard of Kohler Cimarrons? Do you like them? Look, they're a good toilet. Buy Quick Boots and watch the video a few times. It can help. It's a tutorial. Buy QuickBooks. There you go. Yeah, learn how to do your taxes and your books and your accounting. What's your best shower valve brand in your opinion? The one that makes the trim that you like the most, as long as it's a brand name you've heard. I would never tell anybody to go in. I would never tell anybody to go in and buy some of the brands that these manufacturers have that it's their own brand. If it's not, Moen, Delta, Kohler, American Standard, if it's not a name that you've heard and know,
So
it has
don't
a
buy it
great
on
warranty. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. The amazing Miss Lori McNeil says, I love what Billy shared. The difference between where you are now and where you want to be is learning what you don't know. You can't keep doing the same thing expecting different results. Literally, the definition of insanity. Also, a great book recommendations, Billy. Thank you. Okay, Lori McNeil, if y'all don't know her, you need to check her out on Facebook. A great branding, marketing strategist. She is phenomenal. She looks amazing in pink, which is her signature color.
Sounds like somebody I need to know.
And I know she's not going to. She's going to tell me it's not pink. She has her own hex codes for the numbers for her color for what she does. You want to talk about somebody that understands how to build a brand, how to build marketing, how to build a strategy around everything you do. She is phenomenal. Lori, I thought about you last night. We were at Bill Walsh's event here in Dallas, the seven-figure event. Pretty cool stuff. Mason Ahern says there's no space station and the earth is flat. Take that to the bank. Mark says, what was the name of the first book you mentioned about business? The first one was E-Myth, Michael E. Gerber.
There's also one that's the E-Myth Revisited, which has been kind of updated.
He updated it, absolutely. Yeah, because he wrote that book 45 years ago or so.
There's versions for plumbers,
all of them.
Carpenters, contractors. They're all kind of spun toward your own.
Mason Ahern says that product is for losers. You know what? Or hosers. We are looking into it. Mom Slayer, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. What's the best fixture brand in your opinion, including shower valves and faucets? In my opinion, it's Delta. And I didn't mention Delta a while ago. Delta has amazing warranties. So Delta, Kohler, American Standard. Those are going to be some of your best ones. There's so many out there. Moen. Look at brands that stand behind their product. I've got a kitchen faucet at home that's made in Mexico. They were wanting to move to the United States, take it over and send it to me. And I'm like, oh my God, I love that. So there are some neat stuff out there. Persixon says, hey, Roger, chiming back in. Love the videos on the blast chamber. I love blowing stuff up. What a fun idea. Would love to see more videos. Have you covered the new Viga couplings yet? Not yet. But, and Viga just had an event, and I had a bunch of friends that are social media influencers there. And I'm like, wait, why didn't y'all invite me up? Cool Architect says, Roger, have you ever heard of Richard? Absolutely. I've got pictures of Richard and I. The Cimarron sucks because the tank bolts slide from the side. There's all kinds of different things. Toto, man, Mason, there's another one. My bidet toilet seat at home that I love that isn't in my master bathroom. I have to go to the powder bath to use it. It's a Toto. I'm spoiled.
Get up and go there to use it after you're done with the other one, or do you start in there?
No, I start in there. That's the one I use. Diaz Calleros. I hope I got that right. Can someone do subcontract jobs for a plumbing company if they have all tools and work truck with 4 years of experience and apprentice license? No. But no hours registered. No. You cannot legally subcontract work. Even if you've got a journeyman license, you can't subcontract. You've got to have a master's license. Now, if you're under their master, you might can work that stuff out. Mark says, I got that one, and Think and Grow Rich. What was the other one? E-Myth, Think and Grow Rich.
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Absolutely. Lori McNeil says, I got invited to speak last night, but I was booked for a different event in Florida. Saw the photos. It looked like a great event. It was wonderful. And there were people there that I was talking to you about or talking about to you. Look, she's great at what she does. She probably does it better than anybody else. And to see her speak and hear her story is really phenomenal. So, Billy, tell everybody again who you are and what you do.
My name is Billy Klein. I own a company here in Dallas-Fort Worth called YourNewDoor.com. We sell, install, repair, and replace residential entry doors, all replacement, no new construction, and we're scaling to take over Texas and then the United States.
Man, I love that. Guys, look, we do this every week. And I got to jump down to the super chat. Guys, no more comments. I'm not going to be able to get to them. We're literally trying to shut this thing down. Mom Slayer says, do you live in a state that allows dry vents, and what's your opinion on it? Most states allow dry vents. You've got to live in some that have wet vents too. So there are two different types. Study them, know what they are. You've got to look. I see dry vents. I see wet vents. It's all depending on what code and the distance you're running. There's a lot of different things involved. But the cool thing about it is know the code, know the addendums in your areas, and that's going to help you do the right thing. And it makes all the difference in the world. So once again, thanks to Billy Klein for being here today, the door guy.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Makes it amazing. Thanks to Randy, Squirt, Henry, whatever you want to call him. Squirt, appreciate you being here. Colton, my videographer, he records over in the studio. He does everything. Special thanks to Lori McNeil for jumping in here today. Got to see that she was in an event that I spoke out online the other day. A phenomenal person. Reach out to her right here on LinkedIn, also on Facebook. Does some great things. So guys, you can learn a lot. And she's got some amazing books out to help you learn about marketing, branding, PR, everything that she does. And probably one of the smartest ladies that I know. So fantastic stuff. Lori, thank you for jumping in. You are phenomenal. I love learning from you and seeing everything you're doing. So I really do appreciate that so much. Guys, everybody else, thank y'all for being here. Happy Saturday to you. It's 12:30, so man, we hit it right on time. Sometimes that speed round works and makes it all happen. But guys, look, if you got in here and you're looking for something else, you're looking for specific information, go to my channel, check it out and see what you can find. I love having y'all here. I love that we get to do this each and every week. So thanks to each and every one of y'all. Remember, this video is sponsored by Go High Level. They have everything in place to help you grow your plumbing company, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, roofing, to be honest, any company. They can help you with your CRM. They can help you with funnels. They can help you with Facebook, Google advertising. They're set up for Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok for words that will help drive people to you. There's so many things there. And I've got a great setup with them with a 30-day free trial and an onboarding call where they will literally talk to you and help you put all this stuff in place. So anything you want to learn, go check it out. Thank y'all all for being here. I do appreciate it. I'm Roger Wakefield, lead AP, helping you make more money in the trades.